Only on News 5, two issues hitting Colorado right now: rising drug overdose deaths and suicides.
And it affects nearly every area of our state, including county coroners. Our Colette Bordelon learning about the impact we'd never noticed. Colette, you discovered those who can perform the autopsies, certified medical examiners, sadly in short supply here.
That's right, they are. And El Paso County deals with thousands of deaths, and about a quarter of those require autopsies. Smaller communities have to send some of their cases to El Paso County, adding to a caseload that's not expected to slow down anytime soon.
This is where we x-ray the bodies.
There's a lot to look at in the El Paso County Coroner's Office.
And they get scanned from head to toe for bony injuries or bullets.
Tools and tests not found in smaller counties.
We perform autopsies for about 21 other counties.
Dr. Leon Kelly says there's only a handful of Colorado counties with a coroner that's also a board-certified forensic pathologist, like Dr. Kelly is.
And the overwhelming majority of coroners in Colorado are non-physicians.
The El Paso County Coroner's Office has 4 doctors who can perform autopsies on people who have died suddenly or unexpectedly. It takes a lot of training, about 13 years of education, and they have their plates full. The National Association of Medical Examiners, or NAME, gives accreditations to coroners' offices, and it says doctors can only do 250 autopsies a year. In 2018, each medical examiner in El Paso County averaged 305. NAME also says the office has approved and gotten the funding to hire another medical examiner to help keep up.
There's only about 400 to 500 forensic pathologists in the country. The vast majority of communities, particularly in Colorado, don't have a forensic pathologist.
Dr. Kelly says the service they provide isn't cheap. They charge smaller counties about $1,500 per autopsy. The money goes into El Paso County's general fund, but it does put a burden on the small county coroner budgets.
The more drug deaths we see, the more homicides we see, the more people on the road that we have, and the more car crashes are going to put a strain on those smaller counties.
We are having more drug deaths every single year.
Otero County coroner for the past 4 decades, Robert Fowler, says his office typically averages around 150 deaths a year. But in 2018, it jumped to 200, and he thinks this year will be even higher.
I have a budget that's from Otero County, and now the last few years I've gone over budget every year.
It hasn't always been that way. For instance, Fowler says in 2007, they actually came in under budget. But that started to change in 2012 when they were around $3,000 over budget for autopsies. Then in 2015, they were around $7,000 over budget for their autopsies alone. And then in 2018, they budgeted $28,000 and spent $36,000 on autopsies.
The smaller counties are have to pay for it. There is no money from the state to fund this.
He estimates an autopsy will cost around $2,000 total when you add in all of the supplies, equipment, and transportation involved. He expects to autopsy around 30 bodies this year, meaning they could spend around $45,000 on autopsies when they were budgeted for $28,000.
Coroner has sort of a tough job anytime, period. And now with this increase in the drug deaths, that changes our burden.
Fowler says keeping up with all the drug-related deaths is difficult, so in certain situations he might not do an autopsy when he has the necessary information available.
It's a tough go right now for any coroner.
Dr. Kelly worries that with the lack of doctors, other counties may be cutting too many corners.
I tried the route of drawing samples at the scene of death and sending those only for toxicology if they suspect a drug overdose.
It's a problematic shortcut, Dr. Kelly says, for 2 reasons. 1, not all deaths that look like overdoses are. And 2, cases where drugs are present don't necessarily mean it was an overdose that killed someone.
You now have no idea why this person has died, hoping to get an answer in the most efficient and cost-effective way. And sometimes that'll work. And there's some communities across the country that honestly don't have a choice.
A choice critical to learning more about public health, which is why both coroners say the funding for every office is important, because how someone died could help someone still alive. The El Paso County coroner says opioid deaths were increasing, but about 2 to 3 years ago, they started decreasing. He says better education, awareness, and things like Narcan could have impacted those numbers. Always watching out for you, Southern Colorado. Colette Bordelon, News 5.
Colette.